earwigging on some pretty fascinating discussions about really the structure, how society is structured and the very essence of work, and whether we need it or not. I'm just going to throw it open to everybody, and if you've got questions, please fire away. Oh no, come on. I heard lots of discussions.
I'd like to hear just some of the ideas that came up, basically.
One of the things we said was about finance. Now, years ago, everything was about the state providing funds, but now we have people that they want to set up things. They do crowdfunding, you know. I mean, I've joined and we've helped set up a lot of energy cooperatives, you know, funded on, I mean, not just myself, other people have done it as well, all over the country. So that we now need to have to look at how we can acquire funding. The whole issue of funding is, if you like, turned on its head. You know, because people always used to think, where are you going to get the funding from? But now, we as individuals, collectively, can provide the answer through crowdfunding, or you know, or even bigger projects, you know, because some even workers have bought themselves out. I mean, you take the West Highland Press. There was that was a private enterprise, and the journalists bought it out and set up a cooperative, you know, to do the job for themselves. And I think that is something society needs to look at, if you like, in a way.
I had a hand over here.
Yeah, I just thought...
Please just, say who you are again as well, so sorry.
Okay, my name's Craig Lundy, I'm a PCS rep from down from Scotland.
PCS is?
Public and Commercial Services Union, but we're the biggest civil service union here. I wanted to make a couple of points, if you don't mind, again, because we're trying to sort of do the thing in the round about why it's the mode of production and it's the economic system itself that's the problem, because some of this, as I said to you, some of this will just fall through the cracks in capitalism, you know. So there's a couple of things I think we need to get right, and I think even a lot of socialists need to think this through as well. And so there's 2 points I'm going to stick to, because there's loads of them to make, but there's 2 in particular that I want to say. First of all, there is no such thing as the economy. You know, there are only economies that are parallel and intersecting economies. It's economics. It's like whose economy? You've got to think it's something is economic from whose perspective. You go back to how the first, you know, our earliest notion of what economics was. It was Xenophon that wrote the economicus. Well, that's just estate management. So it's from the view of either the estate manager, to be literal, but basically the patrician, the guy who owns the estate, right? Now, as we moved on through history, we moved on to political economy, and of course that was the idea of this state, you know, but it was like one state up against another. There's never been a global economy. That's what they want, that's what the capitalists want, is there to be a single economy run their way. Now, as economics developed over that time, it just certain types of economists were flavour of the month, whilst others were saying completely different things, simply because they said, well, it's right to look at it from the owner of capital's perspective, because they're the ones making things happen. So when after Smith, when Ricardo came along and made the system quite a bit more, you might say, rational, you realise there's a problem here with this labour's producing all that value, but so what do we do that? We can't leave all the power in the hands of the market operators, the capitalists. However, of course, that was all closed back down again, wasn't it? Now, Marx saw right through that, didn't he? But he wasn't, you know, he wasn't alive long enough to do the whole story. So I think that's the first point, is that it's whose economy are we talking about? And the second one is, this will be much shorter, no organism can survive without fuel or food, right? So you have to have that in the first place before you can do anything. Our economy looks at everything we do in exactly the opposite direction. It says, what can you do for me? Okay, there's some bobbies, to use a Scottish word, there's some money, there's some food for you. Now, when you then bring that up to date and look at the argument for, and this is, obviously it's usually just done in financial terms when they talk about what do they call it? They used to call it social credit. Now they call it like what do they call it again? You know what I mean? The living. No, it's not even that. It's when you,
Basic income?
basic income, right? So when basic income theory comes along and you present it, there's a whole section of so-called socialists looking at it going, that's not going to work. It's not going to work within the realms of, you know, the critique of political economy that they've got, right? So, thanks for that. Well, let me finish then.
Other people want to...
Yeah, but it's not up to you, okay? So let's finish. So,
Spread it out to the group.
the point I'm making is this: our economics says, wait till you do something, then you might get something back to almost everyone except the capitalists themselves. So, unless you completely change the way you measure economics, then we're on a hiding to nothing.
Okay, I saw some other hands up as well. Yeah, at the front.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last subject we were talking about was universal basic income. My observation with that is that the universal basic income is something, so we are the people here, we've got the governments at the top, corporations. So we, on one side, are trying to challenge the system, telling the government you're not doing this, the way you're doing this is not right. On the other side, we have now emboldened the government by telling them you're going to distribute the universal basic income to us, the very same people we're trying to fight and challenge. There's something inherently dangerous about that. That not just universal basic income, but also when we're relying on that income, which is going to be through the wireless or the cashless economy as well. So that's two inherently dangerous things where on one side we're saying we're going to take back autonomous control of our society and we're going to hold the government or the leaders to account. So we put one thing in the back pocket and then we've simultaneously taken the other thing out of the other pocket with our own hands and given it back to the government. I think people have just taken the word universal basic income, they haven't looked at it in its entirety, and just like we're doing today, we're saying there's not just one side, let's look at two sides. Is there a downside to any of these ideas or thinking? That's just my thoughts on that. And the other thing, just to reiterate this guy over here was talking about cooperatives. I think with regards to cooperatives, a lot of these ideas, they could work, maybe, as long as there is equal equity stakeholdership by the people, and not something which is oversighted by governments or corporations where only one person is the shareholder. So we used to have credit unions, we still do, but those credit unions, those co-ops, and those equally stakeholder-owned initiatives, which came all the way from as far as Manchester, they need to be brought back. And I think whatever we do, we need to see where's the equity and fundamentally where is the money coming from.
Dave, any comments, particularly on the issue of cooperatives?
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think cooperatives have to be part of any post-industrial capitalist future. Definitely, absolutely. We're starting to. Lucas Plan Group is starting to make links with the cooperative movement. In fact, we're hoping to have an event with them in Manchester later this year, I think. I'll just say something about this. I think Fred over there talked about work, or somebody did anyway, and it relates also to this thing about universal basic income, and also about the idea of a transition to sustainability. I think that at the moment there's I think it's what Mike Cooley said about two technological paths basically. And at the moment the high-tech technological path is aiming towards full automation plus universal basic income. That's the supposed deal that we're going to get in the next few years. The alternative path, which is consistent, I think, with the Lucas Aerospace Workers' ideas of, dare I say it again, labour-intensive production methods, I think is much more consistent with the idea of a just transition, actually, to a sustainable society. I mean, I think somebody this morning said that the key technology is a tree. I think the key technology that the world needs at the moment is people, actually, and people and their skills. I think that's a far more, you build an economy on people and their skills, it's far, far more resilient than these big high-tech, very fragile systems that are supposed to going to deliver us everything on the plate without us even having to work. And specifically on UBI, I think that there's, it's a very dangerous, I mean, I'm surprised at how much the socialist movements are taking up this idea, because it's incredibly dangerous. Basically, the key tool of workers over the last 200 years to get what they want is the withdrawal of their labour, and the damage that can do to a company. Now, if you just say, well, we're no longer going to be involved in in the production process, then where's our power? Where's our leverage over over corporations? Then we really are in a position of almost complete dependency upon the goodwill of those who who own industrial production systems, and who and the governments that are basically in their pay generally. We put ourselves completely at their mercy by taking that approach. So from my point of view, I think it's not it's a very, very risky strategy. Which is not to say that universal basic income is in itself is not a great idea, but I don't think as part of a deal to accept complete automation is. I think that's very dangerous. I think we should stop, and I just want to say one or two just last logistics things or something. Thanks for putting your names on the sign-up sheet. There's some leaflets here. Sort of take them away and give them to people you know, and let them know about what we're doing. If anybody's really interested in getting involved in our working group, I've got some copies here of our strategy document that we developed last summer, so I can give you a copy of that if you want to come and get involved. I think that was all I wanted to say.
You've just quite nicely answered everything that I was going to ask you about how we can get involved and get in touch with you and find out more, particularly about the new Lucas plan. Quick time for one last quick question, but if you can make it quick.
Very quick. Phil Newton, Liverpool, and Victor Works, ex-apprentice. What happened to LETS, local exchange currency, which it's still around, and is it still connected to permaculture, which was a community of people who swapped skills instead of money?
I mean, LETS schemes still exist. They're quite. I mean, were you going to say something about that, Pete?
I was just going to say they still exist as far as I know.
Right.
I don't think they're particularly linked to permaculture either.
Yes.
All right.
Have you got any final comments you wanted to make, Dave? George,
I'll just repeat again that what we're doing here is a kind of I think what is a little bit of a bigger, more long-term project than the idea of merely of just transition and climate jobs. It's about the whole vision for a whole society that comes after industrial capitalism, and how do we get there? And so anybody who's interested in that, we're really interested in talking to.
thank you very much. We've got our hands together for Dave.